I'm Councilman Mark Henderson. Please put your right hand over your heart as I lead us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this gathering tonight, that we can come and celebrate the accomplishments that we have already done and the accomplishments that are to come in the future. Father, we hope that what our citizens hear tonight is something that will be joyful, something that will be exciting, and something that will be rewarding for all to see. Father, we thank you for our mayor, our city council. We thank you for our directors, our city manager, all the directors of all the departments. We thank you for our city employees that make us the total gem of the South Bay. They work tirelessly. They put in a lot of time just for our city. So keep them safe and watch over them, Father, as they continue to make us a great place to be, to work, play. And Father, we just thank you for our citizens that have come out to hear the great story of what our Gardena mayor and council and city people have all done to make this a wonderful evening. So Father, as we move forward, we thank you, and for your Son and his sake we pray. Amen. Amen.
Ready, face. Ready, face. Right, face. Forward, 1, 2, lift, right, lift.
And now, please direct your attention to the stage as we welcome our city manager, Mr. Clint Osorio. Please give him a round of applause.
Please get comfortable, have a seat. Thank you. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. As city manager, it's my honor to be here tonight. It's a very special night. It's truly a privilege to represent the city of Gardena and to work alongside some of the best and brightest leaders, residents, and staff every single day. I never take the responsibility of reshaping and shaping our future for granted. This year, we're celebrating 95 years of being an incorporated city. A lot has changed over the past 95 years, but it's always a pleasure to look at photos and literatures of the past as we compare them to the present. So tonight, we have a very special program for you as our mayor and our chief of police take us on a journey and see how our city and even our departments have progressed over the years. And with any luck, our children and our children's children will one day look back at what we're doing today to make this city great for them and for many generations to come. As we reflect on our journey, it's important to recognize those who helped shape it. With that in mind, I'm honored to introduce a leader in our city who has made a lasting impact on our community and made history in the process. She has helped our city thrive, adapt, and lead. Our mayor, Tasha Serta. Please give her a round of applause. In her 8th year as mayor and 15th year as an elected official, she became the first African American and Native American mayor not just in Gardena, not just in LA County, but the entire state of California. And tonight is extra special because not only are we celebrating 95 years, but we are also celebrating Women's History Month. And it's only fitting to note our mayor's accomplishments. Mayor Serta was raised and grew up with a passion for service. Her humble beginnings are what shaped her vision for the city and propelled her into a life of public service for over 2 decades. She represents Gardena on multiple regional boards and committees, working tirelessly to advocate for our city's needs at every level. She traveled to Sacramento to testify in hearings to support initiatives that would help benefit Gardena and California. And she has been an ambassador for the city, strengthening bonds internationally between our sister cities in Mexico and Japan. Under her leadership, Gardena has seen new housing growth, increased revenues, attracted new businesses, and secured major grants funding to support our city projects while keeping a close eye on our financial responsibility as chairwoman of the city's Finance Committee. In fact, since Mayor Serta took office in 2017, the total property valuation for all properties in our city increased by over 52% to just over $9 billion in assessed value today. And at the same time, give a round of applause. And at the same time, our homeless population decreased by 50%. She is relentless in reminding us to be diligent about putting in the work on our properties so we can continue to see those higher values and property tax revenues. Her ultimate goal, to make Gardena the destination city of the South Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mayor Tasha Serta.
Good evening, everyone. You guys doing good tonight?
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, you gotta sound more excited. It's gonna be a fun night. Are you guys having a good time tonight? Thank you. That's what I was looking for. All right. Well, year after year, I'm very fortunate to be able to come before you as we have events like this. It's really great seeing so many familiar faces out here. And, you know, I just really appreciate all of you guys for taking time tonight, especially with it being so windy outside. And so, along with all of you guys being out here, we also have other special people in the audience that I'd like to just take a few moments to acknowledge. But first, I think it's always befitting to acknowledge this group of people because oftentimes for many years they weren't acknowledged. So tonight, the first group that I'd like to acknowledge is our veterans. And if we have any of them in the audience right now, if you can, please stand so that we can at least recognize you. Thank you. That's the Gardena way right there. Okay. Again, we really appreciate your service to our country because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. I'd like to take a moment also to introduce our city council members. So joining us tonight, we have our Mayor Pro Tem, Rodney Tanaka. We also have Councilmember Dr. Marky Henderson. Councilmember Paulette Francis. Councilmember Wanda Love. Our city clerk, Ms. Mina Semenza. Our city treasurer, Mr. Guy Motto. He's somewhere around here. He's a treasurer, so he's making money for us. Also, we have our, you guys heard him earlier, but I'd just like to reintroduce him because he is the person who takes care of our city on a day-to-day basis when the council's not around. He's our city manager, Mr. Clint Osorio. Also, we have with us our city attorney, Carmen Vasquez. I like to say she's the person that keeps us legal every single day, and I really appreciate you, Carmen. We also have other dignitaries from neighboring cities that are here with us tonight. I'm sorry, before I mention our other dignitaries, I'd like to mention some of our former council members who are here with us tonight. Tonight we're joined by former council member Rachel Johnson. Also, council member Dan Medina. Councilmember Art Kaskanian. And our former mayor and my mentor, Paul Tanaka. Also, we have with us former state senator Stephen Bradford. And now to some of my friends who've come from other cities today, and I just want to say thank you guys once again too for traveling here. So from Assemblymember Al Marsucci's office, we have Eric Ponce, who is representing Al Marsucci. From LA County Supervisor's office, Holly Mitchell's office, Kyle Lee. From LA County Assessor's office, Jeffrey Prang, his representative in May. From the City of Hawthorne, Mayor Alex Vargas. From the LA College Community Board of Trustees, Nichelle Henderson. From the Municipal Water District, Scott Houston. From the City of Inglewood, Councilmember Dion Falk. And also from the City of Carson, Mr. Cedric Hicks. From Gardena High School, we have the principal, Mr. Frank Davies. From Junipero Serra High School, we have the president, Dr. Moran. All right, guys, I'm almost done here. I just have two more. From LA County Fire Department, we have Fire Chief Brian Kane. And Battalion Chief Raymond Valadoria. Okay, so there's a couple of more folks in the audience here who are people who continue to make our city the city that it is, and that is our commissioners. We have 8 boards of people who volunteer themselves. These are residents, business owners, and each council member gets to appoint someone. So I'd like for everybody from all of these commissions here to please stand so that we can recognize you as well. I think they got a little ahead of me here. So the next group we'd like to recognize as well is some of our community partners, which are our community clubs. And I know a lot of you guys are in a lot of these clubs. We have over 32 of them, but it would take me a really long time to introduce them and clap for them. So I'm just going to ask all of them just to get up and stand so we can applaud you as well. Okay, so now that we finished all the housekeeping here, one of the things that we've done in Gardena, this was a tradition, or we want to call it a tradition, is that we want to start recognizing 2 groups out of all of these clubs here that have done something extremely significant over the past year. And so we've picked 2 for this year that we'd like to highlight. So the first one we'd like to recognize tonight is the Veterans of Foreign War, the VFW Post 3261. And if you're here, if you can please stand while I talk a little bit about you here. So the VFW is an organization that truly signifies service, dedication, and commitment to our veterans. On September the 29th of 2024, they celebrated their 125th year anniversary. We're lucky to have so many dedicated veterans that are here to keep our post open and continue to help it thrive, especially during changing times. They make sure that all of our veterans receive the service and care and support they need, and they never forget the sacrifices that were made. So they participate in events year-round with the City of Gardena, and one of the most profound events that they did this past year was a program where they partnered with themselves, the City of Gardena, where we help people from we help military folks from LA Air Force Base, and we provided food, gift cards, toys, and all sorts of necessary things for the military families, because food insecurity is a big thing, believe it or not, even in the military. And so their generous hard work and their unwavering commitment to this group here was just amazing, and it made such an impact on the City of Gardena. So it only makes sense that we would recognize you tonight for doing that for us. So once again, please give them a big round of applause. Thank you again for being here. Next, I'd like to highlight the second group here, and that is our Tri-City CERT team. And if you can please stand, they're easy to find because they're all wearing green here tonight. Okay, so Tri-City CERT. CERT actually stands for Community Emergency Response Team, and they're a team comprised of dedicated volunteers from Gardena, Hawthorne, and Lawndale. The team has been working together since 2008 with a mission to prepare folks for disasters through training, education, and to assist them in the recovery and shelter of operations. CERT partners with the city as well as the police department for numerous events throughout the year, including the Jazz Festival, is the one that everybody goes to in August. They also participate in the City Employee Shakeout Drill. And something of quick note, they were also out assisting our neighboring city residents in the Palisades fires. And just know that we really appreciate just the time that they volunteer and just dedicate themselves. They don't watch the clock, they're not looking at their watches, they just want to be there to help in whatever way we can. So we, again, really appreciate the amazing work that all of you do, and we thought, again, it would be befitting that we honor you for your work. Thank you again. And I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight the incredible work being done across all of the departments in our cities. So I just want to mention really quickly our department head names as they stand up and represent their respective departments. And if you can continue standing as I read through this here. The first one here is Police Chief Mike Safel. Our Transportation Director, Ernie Crespo. Our Recreation and Human Services Director, Stephanie Santine. Our Public Works Director, Mr. Alan Rigg. Our Community Development Director, Greg Sujuchi. And our Administrative Service Director, Mr. Ray Beeman. I feel like I should have had like a popularity clapping thing going on so I can measure who got like the highest applause. But thank you guys for all that you do, and especially the departments that you represent. I mean, I understand that there are a lot of things that are challenging to each one of the departments as far as managing all the evolving needs that our city always endures on a regular basis, and sometimes it can seem a little overwhelming, but we really, really appreciate the directors and the departments for all that they do throughout the year, because all of the different decisions that they're making, they don't just affect the present, but they're also shaping and laying out the groundwork for the future. So with that, I appreciate you guys, and not just me, but our entire city councils, because there's so many of you. You guys are on the forefront. A lot of times residents meet you before they meet any of us, and so for that, I thank you for just representing Gardena well. So just give yourselves one more round of applause. And so, of course, I just still have to thank one more group here, and this is a collaborative group here. This is our residents and our business owners, because you guys also are the heart and soul of Gardena. Your passion, your resilience, and dedication to our community are truly what make our city special. So give yourselves one more round of applause. All right. So in the first few months of 2025, we witnessed a lot of changes in our national leadership, like the economy, because we've all noticed a difference in the price of eggs. And, it's supposed to be a joke. You guys work with me, guys. Come on. Okay. But even with that, there were a lot of things that happened in our city, or not in our city, in our state, that caught us off guard. For instance, like some of the natural disasters that happened. The Palisade landslide, as well as the Altadena fires. And it just goes to show how life can change in an instant. And so one of the things that I think is really important to mention is that when those two incidents happened, the landslide as well as the fires in Palisades, Malibu, and even up in Altadena, the city of Gardena, we went into action. Our police department, our LA County Fire Department, and our CERT team went out there to assist them. So I want to take this quick moment to say, you know what, sometimes it may not be us, but we're out there to help those, because at any time it can always turn around. So to those three groups, I want to thank you guys for representing Gardena. At a moment's notice, you're out there. So in tonight's State of the City, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to share some of the highlights of the past here. And that's something that we've never really done. And I had a lot of fun doing a lot of history and going through the archives. And I have to say, they didn't disappoint me, because our staff, they worked and worked until we could find everything that we needed to find. And so as we talk about where we want to go in the future, we have to always remember a little bit about our past. And so I want to take you guys back to when the beginning of Gardena even existed here. And so back in the early 1900s, or let's be more specific, in the 1930s, farming was Gardena's main industry in the early 20th century. This area was known for berries, and especially strawberries. It was their claim to fame. The community, in fact, was even known as Berryland because of the acres and acres of berries. They even had a berry train that would make its way through the valley and come by every day to pick up the day's strawberry haul. And in fact, during harvest season, they also had something called Strawberry Day Festival. This was also a parade that happened every May. So it's not too much different than the parades we do today. World War I and the war economy affected the berry industry, and Gardena at the time had to make the Gardena area, had to make the transition from berry capital to a modern industrial area. Industries noticed the change that was happening during the post-war. So as the area began to grow rapidly, and neighboring communities like Hawthorne and Torrance thought that they would potentially annex this area over here, we were kind of concerned, the folks in the area, and said, you know what, we don't know if we want to be annexed. And then also, LA County decided to build a park, which was Alondra Park. The problem with building a park in an area that's not incorporated is that everybody will be levied with a tax. And so one of the ways to keep from getting annexed by our neighboring cities, not that that's a bad thing, but we want it to be our own city, and as well as paying the heavy tax from the new park that was going to be built, the best way to do this was to incorporate ourselves. So on September 11, 1930, the city of Gardena decided to become incorporated. And so as we went on in time, I started to wonder, how did the city of Gardena even get its name? And so there's a couple of theories out there. Some theories state that the early settlers had a daughter, and she used to refer to this area as, oh, this is Gardena. Somebody else said there was a business around town back in the day that just called itself the Garden Spot, and then they decided to add an A behind it. And then it's also been told several times, and this is based on lots and lots of research, that between the city of LA and the San Pedro Harbor, this was the only green area during the dry season. And so it's because of those things they were calling it the green spot. So I can't exactly say how we got the name Gardena, but those are the three theories, and you can make of it what you like of your own. So as the night goes on, I want to share a couple of really fun and interesting facts here. In 1930, the population in the city of Gardena was 5,000 versus today we have over 61,000 residents. And just to note, where we're at is 61,000 residents. LA County's, where we're at 61,000 residents here. We hold the spot of being the third most diverse place to live in LA County, which I thought was really interesting, being that there's a lot of cities, over 88 cities in the county of LA. It's really neat to know that we're in that top 5. The average price of houses back in 1930 were anywhere between $3,500 to $5,000 versus today, I know, right? Versus today, the median sale for price in Gardena is $823,000. I know, really interesting. I'm sure in today's market, the house says $822,000 might be just a little bigger than that. I know. But as I said before, back then, the land was farming, and it was really interesting. You know, it was another interesting fact, in 1930, they actually had a fruit that was only 1 cent. I don't even want to know what fruit is right now, but it was a lot different. Some of the other interesting facts I found doing research here is that Gardena actually had 2 airports. The first airport was located off of 136 and Western, and it went by several different names. It went by the name Western Airport, Dicer Airport, and then Gardena Airport. The second airport was called Gardena Valley Airport, if that wasn't confusing, 2 airports named Gardena. And this one, the boundaries were, on the north side, it was Rosecrans. On the west side, it was Crenshaw. On the south side, it was Compton Avenue. That's what we used to be, that street called. Now it's called Marine. And then on the east side, it was Gramercy. The planes that flew in back then looked like this one here on top. And believe it or not, there was a plane, if we go to our next slide, they actually had the name Gardena on it. Oh, go back, right there. They had the name Gardena Valley Airport on it just to show where the planes were housed. And I just thought that was really interesting, because who would have known that Gardena had 2 airports, one in District 1 and the other in District 2. I know, right? Some of the other fun facts that I found was that Some of the other fun facts I found was that 162nd Street wasn't always called that. It used to be called Market Street back in the day. And Gardena Boulevard was also called Palm Avenue. City Hall was originally located next door. This is City Hall here, was City Hall and the police department. They were located next door where the current fire department is at. And then the fire department that's next door was actually located on Gardena Boulevard. But then in 1963, they decided to build a new city hall, and this is the area that you now see. These are some of the council members here, and this is what the area looked like before a lot of the vegetation was grown in here. So I know I talked a little bit about the way the landscape of how everything laid out, and that takes me to today in current times. So when we talk about the way things are laid out in different areas, it makes me think of our community development department. And I thought it'd be interesting to just share some interesting facts that you saw where we were at before to where we're at right now, and some of the notable things that have happened over this past year that community development has done. The first one is a project that I'm really excited about, and this is called, go back one screen, and this is called the Pacerne Project. The area on Artesian Western, which a lot of people know it by Gardena Car Wash and so on, this is what it was before, and next is going to be revitalized to 300 luxury unit apartments with 17 affordable units, which is really, really nice. I've had the opportunity to visit their other locations in Newport and Lomita, and I have to tell you, it is definitely going to be an amazing upgrade when it comes to apartments in the city of Gardena. The next project we have here is an area that we talk about all the time. It's called the Sumps. Some people call it, I don't know, Devil's Ditch, Graveyard, because at one time, well, I'm gonna say at one time, it's always been known as being very contaminated. And the city of Gardena struggled for a long time trying to work with developers to see how we could revitalize this area here and at the same time deal with the contaminants. And fortunately, we were able to come up with a way where we were able to have a decent development on top. And I'm excited and happy to say that this project here is going to look like this here with the self-storage building, as well as a nice-sized parking lot that will offer the city of Gardena the opportunity to have different events for all of the things that we do throughout the year. Because you know in Gardena, we like to have events. In fact, if you guys don't know it, we have almost 100 events in our city. The next project here is an area on Redondo Beach Boulevard in Vermont. Now, this is not in the city of Gardena, but everybody thinks it is. Everybody asks me all the time, what are you guys going to do with that property? We are not going to do anything, but the city of LA is. And so what they're planning is to put a company there called Prologis. It's a fulfillment center. It's a large development. It's going to really spruce up the Redondo Beach Boulevard area there. Now, they're a large organization. They will affect Gardena in a lot of ways, and so we decided we'd have a nice little meeting with them and say, you know, welcome to the area, but we know it's going to have some impact on the city of Gardena. And if you like, you could be so gracious enough to donate to some of our projects, and they happily agreed. They decided to give us $150,000 to help us with all of our city activities. So let's just give this company a round of applause for being a community partner with us. And just know that as your mayor, I will always accept donations like this from neighboring communities if it helps our city out. All right, next department I want to talk about is code enforcement. And this here is one of my favorite departments because I really push for us to have more code enforcement officers in our city because they are instrumental in just not only finding different code enforcement issues, but it really has to do with quality of life. If you have neighbors that have overgrown shrubbery or people who are habitually leaving furniture in front of their well, okay, you can leave it there. Or leave furniture in front of their businesses. Stay right there. Leave furniture in front of their businesses. Just do things that just don't take care of the community like we think they should. And of course, decrease our property values. This can be a real big problem. So we thought for us to get more code enforcement officers, it would make us more proactive versus reactive. And so I'm happy to say that we're at a point now where we have 3 full-time code enforcement officers that work 6 days a week. And this is an example of some of the issues that they have to deal with. This here is a situation of somebody who's a hoarder. And in fact, they've had over 1,400 code cases just this past year. We can go to the next screen. This is a situation where someone had an apartment and they thought it would be cool to have a pig living inside of there. Go back. I know. People have no idea some of the things that we get to see. So when I mention about things like this here, you know, oftentimes we're like, okay, now what? Code enforcement went out there, they cited them, you know, a person has so much time to clean it up, etc. Then what? Well, let me show you the difference of once we go out and clean it up, this is what it can look like. All right, so next I have a story for you. This one here is our, you can go to the next screen, go back one. This one here is regarding our community service officer, which is assigned to animal control services. So in the past year, now that we have our own animal control, we've opened almost 102 cases. And one of the things that they've done besides the different cases that they're out there investigating is that they've launched a new pet licensing system, which will help residents or the pet owner, being the parent, be able to track their dogs in the event that their dogs get loose. So this little dog right here recently was abandoned outside of a local veterinary hospital. Its leg was injured, and unfortunately, his leg had to be amputated. The dog needed weeks around the clock care, and one of our community service officers and his girlfriend decided to step up and foster him while he was getting ready for adoption. Now remember, he lost a leg, but they came up with a really great name. So his new name is Tripod. I know. I didn't name him, so. But we really appreciate, you know, just the dedicatedness of a lot of our employees. So please, let's give them a round of applause. Our Economic Development Department, they continue to encourage new businesses to come into Gardena. And as you can see from this picture, we love doing grand openings here. So in 2024, we welcomed a variety of different types of businesses here. Meat markets, flower shops, dessert shops. You know, it's the thing we like to do because we know that with new businesses coming into Gardena, all it does is help make our community stronger. And speaking of better things, I'm really excited to talk about this project right here, Gardena Boulevard. I want to take a moment to thank our former state senator because he made it possible for us to get $2 million to help over 60 businesses if they choose to participate in a facade improvement program. This allowed them to have paint with really nice neutral colors, awning, and a sign so that they would have a nice uniform look here. And with the hopes that we can get more businesses to want to come to Gardena Boulevard and of course make it thriving again. So let's please give him a big round of applause. That's major. We also like to work with some of our larger corporations. A lot of times we like to partner with them for a variety of business, a variety of opportunities. So I'd like to just take a moment to thank the CEO of Nissen Food, Brian Huff. I know he's here with us tonight. Brian, thank you for joining us. Last week, he and his staff gave myself and a couple of our employees here an opportunity to take a tour of Nissen Food. Believe it or not, we got a chance to get in these really cool outfits, walk through the factory, and see how noodles are made, more specifically, cup noodles. And you notice I said cup noodles because we all thought it was cup-o noodles, but it's cup noodles, which we learned. And it was really, really great. It was an awesome experience just kind of watching the process of all of this. But I think through partnerships like this with the CEO of Nissen, along with the City of Gardena, all we can do is make ourselves stronger, more connected, and just make, again, this place a wonderful city to live in. And again, I just really appreciate the partnership working with Nissen Food, and I just hope that all of you guys eat cup noodles as well and support them too. And let's just give them one more round of applause. So. Speaking of food, I'm sure by now all of you guys know that restaurants in our city have been the best kept secret for a really, really long time. And social media just really blew that up. And I think the secret is out because everybody knows that Gardena is the place to eat. In fact, one of the restaurants that we had the opportunity to do a little bit of a, I don't want to say a ribbon cutting, but just a grand reopening with them, was a place called Fukukawa, and they had let me get this right. They had one of their players from the Rams, who apparently this is his favorite spot. His name is Puka Nakua. He teamed up with Pepsi and the Rams to kind of spotlight this particular restaurant. This is a Japanese restaurant which is located right next to IHOP Shopping Center. I can't think of the area right now. And thank you, I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys were listening, okay. And which was really interesting because, you know, we didn't know this place was there. It was kind of hidden in the back, but allowing us to be able to come, meet the owners, the fact that Rams as well as Pepsi, they were featured in the place, it was just a really good thing that we were able to work with them and help showcase this particular restaurant over here. And, you know, as I said, Gardena being that best kept secret as it relates to food, believe it or not, from the Dodgers, their manager, Dave Roberts, has actually been seen here eating at Sushi Sonaji. So in case you guys are over there and you see him, it's really him. And rumor has it, the other Dodger, Shohei Ohtani's been seen in Gardena as well, too. So Gardena's kind of getting on the map there. So along with that, one of the other things that I thought would be really interesting is to talk about how the restaurants in our community help attribute to the finances and our health, because Gardena doesn't just exist on its own. And so one of the ways that we do that is making sure that they have the necessary tools as far as building and keeping our economy strong. And so in the early days of Gardena, it was really different as it related to finance. And so bear with me here because I'm kind of jumping. There was no finance department in the 1930s. All they had was a bookkeeper, and that fell up under the city clerk. And in 1930, they only had 30 employees versus today we have over 500 employees. Big difference. Back in the day, there was a bank called the First National Bank of Gardena, and the city of Gardena actually had its own currency. We were able to find a picture of a $10 and a $20 bill. I just want to caution you guys, if you find one of these, don't try spending it in the city, it's not going to work. But I think it's really important to note that because things are so different right now, it's important to know that our council, probably one of the most important things that we do is make sure that we have a budget that's adopted and making sure that it's fiscally sound to continue running our city. Our city operates on a 2-year budget cycle. It's one that's adopted every year. But here's a fun fact. Back in 1930, the city's very first budget, once the city was incorporated, was $27,000 for the entire year. They had a little bit of an excess, an additional $40,000 for other funds that weren't in what we call the regular budget. The regular budget is things that we use to operate on a daily basis. If you compare that to today, the number is much larger. Our general fund budget that we deal with on a day-to-day basis for operating for the year is $86 million, and we also have an additional $300 million, which includes other things that we have, for instance, our G-Trans and special revenues and grants. So a big difference from $27,000 to $86 million. Okay, round of applause. Big difference, okay. One of the other things back in the 1930s is that the city had no sales tax. And for most of you guys, if you don't know, that's a big part of how our city works. So they had no sales tax, and the only thing they relied upon was the property tax. So today, our city doesn't only rely on property tax. We survive off of sales tax, our card room tax, business license fee, vehicle fees, etc. I also want to mention Measure G, because many of you know that back in 2020, we pushed to pass Measure G. And I have to say that it was probably one of the smartest financial decisions that we ever made, because when we pushed for Measure G for that sales tax to stay in Gardena, we were able to make sure that that money only got spent in Gardena and not spent in other neighboring cities. Because unfortunately, if your sales tax doesn't go directly to your city and it goes to, let's just say, the county, it can get divided up and go into other places. And so it was really important for us to do that. We passed it, money is staying here, and that's why you're seeing so many different projects throughout the city that are improving it. We're going to continue talking about that a little bit later. Another fun fact I wanted to mention was back in 1933, our sales tax was 33 cents. I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. In 1930, our minimum wage was 33 cents per hour. Versus today, it's $16.50. In 1936 to 1980, Gardena, our card rooms kind of held a monopoly over the state of California. We had almost 7 card rooms in our city, and they accounted for 1/3 of the city's budget. And back then, you couldn't mention Gardena without mentioning the card rooms. In fact, I'm sure when a lot of you guys moved here, probably in the late 60s, early 70s, you remember all the card rooms, Normandy Club, the Horseshoe, etc. But when you compare back then how much the city relied on the card rooms, it wasn't necessarily a good thing, because as time went on and the card rooms began to close, the city, of course, started losing some of their budget. And so it's always important for a city to diversify, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But at the time, it was a big thing. It was thriving. Some of the history that I looked up said that the card rooms, they were donating money to everything. They sent all the kids to Disneyland. They sent schools on field trips. And so they were good in its time when they had them, but today it's a different time. And so with that, we have to, again, as I mentioned, rely on different revenue sources. But I'm happy to say that our finance team is really on it. And in fact, let me see, make sure I'm staying on my notes here. I get a little excited when we talk about finance, because I am the Finance Committee Chairperson. And in fact, we've actually won numerous awards in our city. We won the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for our recently adopted budget for 24 through 2025 and 2025 through 2026 for the 5th consecutive budget year. We've also received the Certificate of Achievement in Financial Reporting for the 38th consecutive year. Give ourselves a round of applause for that, guys. I know a lot of cities, and I'm not going to name names, that can't say that they've done that. In fact, I know some cities that don't even bother having themselves audit. So it's a big deal when you know that your money has been done right, and you can bring in an outside agency to come in and audit you. In fact, we've mentioned this before, that we have a financial transparency dashboard located on our city's website. And so basically what this means is that you can go on there at any time and see what our current finances are in real time. This is updated every 2 weeks, and so that way we know how we're doing. There's no guess. There's no, today our budget's good, tomorrow we're going into bankruptcy. And I think that's really important to know just how transparent the city of Gardena is. So another really fun fun fact when we were out doing research here. In 1931, the records were kept in a ledger like this, and I believe we actually have this ledger on the outside here. There were a lot of handwritten notes, and they were for things like payment for things like gasoline, oil, and payroll. And what we found was that there were a lot of notes, not just 1 or 2 pages, but a lot. I tried to read through as many as I could, but it was really, really interesting how they were able to transact things by just having notes like this. And this is another really interesting one here. This is something actually we just found today. This is an invoice from 1930 where the city's water bill was 75 cents. Today, in 2025, do you guys have any idea what our city's water bill could be? Yell out some names, I'm just curious. $25,000 for the month for water. I know, a really, really big difference. And one of the things I can say is that I'm so glad we're not back in the ledger days here. Today, we are a lot more high-tech. We have our IT department, and our IT is awesome. They handle so much stuff in our city, and I hate to say it, but in most places, we hardly ever recognize IT. City of Gardena, we have over 500 employees here. They help us with everything from our city phones, our computers. Every time we go whining and calling, oh my gosh, my computer's down, they do it all. And so for that, I have to say that I am so excited and proud to know that if I need help, they're just a phone call away. In fact, they've even taken it a step further when they just completed the new Wi-Fi in the park, so that now at 4 out of our 7 parks, we offer free Wi-Fi from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I think that's a really big deal, and let's give them a round of applause. And as I said earlier, one of the reasons I really, really want to acknowledge them is because, again, I hope we never go back to the days of using ledgers. And just knowing what they do and knowing that at any moment they could just hit a button and our whole system could go down. I appreciate them. I appreciate them for helping to put this together as well. So to IT, thank you guys. Thank you. That's my colleague. He is the IT master over here. So like so many other organizations, what we try to do in the city of Gardena is we try to attract the best talent. And so this year alone, we brought in 89 new hires and we promoted 59 of our employees. So give them a big round of applause for that. One of the things that I really appreciate about our employees here and their department head is that we're about making sure that not only do they have the opportunities to train and do better, but we don't try to stifle anybody here. And sometimes you go places and you see things like that. So I love the fact that we're thinking about not just now, but thinking more about in the future. So that's something that I'm really proud of, the fact that we're always looking at forward, not just staying in the present here. So that, to me, is awesome. But in Gardena, we still have some other challenges. I know I've been talking about all the good stuff, you know, the history and everything, but there are some challenges out there that we're still concerned about. You heard me mention last year in our State of the City presentation that there are things that are looming over us, for instance. The price of things like our fire department going up in price on us. Back in the day, you can see what it looked like. On the far left here, this is one of our first fire trucks we've had. Then, I don't know, I think this is about 1950 or something like that. I'm sorry, this was 1930. We got a truck from LA City Fire Department. This is a little further on as the years went on. I think that's a pumper truck and somewhere around the 40s here. And moving forward, this was our Gardena Fire Department back in the day. We had these nice big yellow trucks here. And so it was a lot different. So now we're with the LA County Fire Department, which is a great fire department here. I have no complaints. They have response times, 3 to 5 minutes. Love them to death, but the price of things are going up. So that's one of the challenges that we're facing as far as can we afford to pay $1.7 million more for our fire department. We're looking at different options and ideas. One of the other concerns that we have is a bill called SB 549. And that's something that recently the governor signed and put in place where that the Indian tribes are now able to sue our California card rooms with frivolous lawsuits, which potentially could end up reducing their income. And if their income is reduced, then so is ours. So these are some of the challenges that we're facing, but believe it or not, we have an amazing finance team, and I appreciate the fact that they are always on it. We're preparing now and looking at different opportunities so that that won't hit us so hard in the event that that happens. So along with, like I said, the challenges, we're constantly thinking about moving forward in the future. And so I know I mentioned a little bit about the fire department. It sounded a little doom and gloom in talking about that, but I still want to say we're with the LA County Fire Department. They're great. They're awesome. They've been in our city since 2000. We have, I don't know if our firefighters are still here, but I just wanted to say thank you guys for the great job that you've done. And to give you just a little bit of history about it, we had our own fire department up until 1999. Our firefighters decided that they wanted to go to LA County because there were more promotion opportunities for them. So in 2000, they went to LA County Fire Department. They're contracted with us, but they're not per se a department. We still work hand in hand with them. We have two fire stations in our city, one next door, Station 158 and Station 159. And again, they do an amazing job, and you know, who doesn't love a firefighter? All right, another department that I thought would be really interesting to talk about today is our Public Works Department. So if any of you guys are on social media, I'm sure you saw all the hype we did about our railroads. You guys saw it? Did anybody see it on social media? I don't know, but I was out there at 5 a.m. in the morning filming the video, so I hope you guys saw it. But Public Works Department, they have a lot to brag about. They have a 45-member team, and I just want you to know just a few things about them here. Not only do they do an amazing job, but I always say they go over and beyond. And at one point I said, you know, like, what's the highest you guys can go and, you know, with your projects? And it's like every time I kind of challenge them, I feel like they keep going higher and higher. And one of the things that I always love to talk about is our city's pavement condition index. We call it a PCI. And what this is our streets as far as how well they're maintained. And so if you notice when you drive through the city of Gardena, we don't have that many potholes. And so the state's average is 65. The city of Gardena has one of the highest PCI in our our pavement condition index, PCI, of 81. And in fact, that's even higher than some of the cities in Orange County. So give Public Works a big round of applause. I always find it so fascinating when people, when they leave the city of Gardena and they drive into Torrance and they go, oh my gosh, I noticed the big difference. You guys didn't have potholes, and now when I get over there, it just bumps up and down. Like, no sleigh on Torrance, but it's just always kind of cool to hear that. Some of the other interesting facts that you may not know about our Public Works is that they spray our manholes on a regular basis to keep the little pests and rodents out, and I think that's really important. Oftentimes people ask, do we ever synchronize any of our signals? We do. We synchronize them from the north to the south. The other thing that I always find to be interesting is that people constantly come to me and they want to complain about, oh my gosh, the streets look terrible. What about all that junk out there? What about all the RVs? And I love to tell them that if you live east of Vermont, that's not the city of Gardena, because if you lived in our city, our Public Works guys would have taken care of it, because that's one of the things that we hear about all the time. So where's Public Works at? I just want to give a shout out to you guys. They are so on it, and in fact, most people have no idea that when a really bad accident happens, our Public Works guys, I mean, you know, they take emergency calls. If a bad traffic accident happens and it affects the street lights out there, they're on call. I don't care if it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we appreciate their dedication. And as I mentioned earlier, if you saw any of our social media, then you knew about the railroad tracks that were redone at 166 and Western. And I have to say, at first, I didn't think many people would notice it, but when I started seeing the response on social media, how many people said, oh my gosh, every time I drive over this spot, it tears up the exterior of my car, and now when they drive over it, it's just a smooth transition over it. And so I wanted to, give them a round of applause. They did that. They did such an amazing job with that. The project initially was supposed to start on a Friday night at 10 p.m., and it was supposed to end Monday morning at 3 a.m. Do you know they finished that job on Saturday at about 6:30, which was awesome, the fact that they were that ahead of the schedule. And I know for a fact because I was out there with them at 5 in the morning and then later on that day at 5:30. So they did an amazing job working with our railroad company. They've also repaired over 3,000 square feet of sidewalk. And what's interesting about that is where they've repaved the area, they've made it so that it's less tripping hazards. So if there's a certain inch, their standard is not having it over the two cement levels higher than the other, just to lessen the number of trips and falls. And so that's something that we've done to be proactive with. And so we have our city divided up into 4 areas. They've already completed 2, and they're in the process of completing 2 more. In our city, we have a lot of sidewalk. This isn't something that's just done overnight. It can take up to a year just to get 2 areas done, just because it's something that's very detail-orientated. We also have something called Keep Gardena Beautiful Day that comes out of our Public Works Department. This year alone, we had over 500 participants to come out. And if you've never been to one of these events before, it's a great opportunity for any of your departments, your community clubs, your church clubs, schools, to be able to come out and do something to beautify the city. And if you don't have a project in mind, we'll give you one. Where you can paint, you can plant flowers, you can help us clean up our willows, wetlands. There's a variety of things you can do. It's a fun time we have from like 8 o'clock in the morning till about 12. All of my colleagues have participated in it, so if we can do it, we would love to have all of you guys to come out there and help us out as well. But that's one of the things that we really appreciate that they do in our community. We also have a Willows wetland, and that's another place that if you've never been there before, you definitely want to check it out. Believe it or not, when you go into this area, you actually think you're in a forest. It has no markers of a potential city around, and it's one of the places that it's really neat and exclusive just to the city of Gardena, and we love it. And we're excited about the fact that we got a $300,000 grant from LA County to help do a conceptual design of our Willows Wetlands Preserve. And then And then the other couple of things I just have to mention, because we mentioned it a couple of years prior, but that we were coming to this point, was that Public Works Department was able to secure a 2-year CIP budget of $72 million to repair various parts of the city of Gardena. And this is one of the highest in the history of Gardena that Public Works has ever been able to do something like this. And this here is using, not per se general funds, but it's restricted funds that are only specifically for this here. No property tax money was used from this. And so we're really excited about that, because if you're starting to see different areas in our city, the railroads, the streets better, just various buildings around town being improved, that's what that money is being spent for. And so this is $72 million worth of improvements over 2 years. Trust me, at the end of that, you're going to see even more. So Public Works, you're doing awesome. And then just lastly, as I mentioned earlier, where we repaved the tracks on Western and 166 2 weeks ago, starting tomorrow, we're going to do the same tracks on Normandy, Normandy and 166. So first it was Western and 166, now it's on Normandy. And why? Because you guys asked for it. Couple of more things about Public Works. They're just doing awesome things here. But this year is going to be the year that we're going to have the grand opening of our new Aquatics and Senior Center. I know you guys have been waiting for it. This will be completed this summer in 2025. We are all really excited. We're going to have the grand opening. We're going to do a ribbon cutting like we love to do here in the city of Gardena. We're going to have it available so the kids can get in the pool right away, and our seniors are going to be able to start using it immediately. Also, something of note is that the city of Gardena has our Alzheimer daycare. That's another facility that's also going to be housed in that spot as well. So Gardena is trying to do our best to address the community needs and just make sure that we have adequate facilities for all of that as well. So with that, Public Works, I have to say you're doing some awesome stuff here. Thank you for beautifying our city. It definitely makes a difference here. And so I know I've told you about a lot of the things as it relates to structure, but I think something to also reference today next is our Recreation and Human Services. So back in 1936, when Recreation was first started, it wasn't even a department, it was a commission. And at the time, the budget for the entire year was $190. I know. Versus today, in 2025, the budget for recreation services is $6.5 million, which is a huge difference. Now, in 1930, some of the recreation activities they had were learning how to bake cakes, dressmaking, upholstery. It was really interesting back then. I mean, as I read through this, I was like, wow, this would be useful, I think. But nowadays, we have a lot of other things. We have our Jazz and Wine Festival that come out of recreation services. We have our sports league programs. We have parades. We're going to be in charge of the pool once it's built. We have celebrity sports clinics. Believe it or not, we had a couple of celebrities this year running our clinic. We had AC Green, formerly with the Lakers, which was a lot of fun. We also had Steph Curry and Brian Jennings as they dedicated a new floor to Raleigh Park, and they came out and threw the basketball around. I'm sorry, not Steph Curry, Brian Jennings did, but his company, Steph Curry's did. They threw the ball around with the kids a little bit. They gave away a lot of free tennis shoes, T-shirts, and just the kids had a really good time. So our Parks and Recreation Department, you heard me mention it earlier tonight, they have over 100 events. They have events for kids, they have events for seniors, and they even have events for pets that are turning out to be the real big thing now. And probably the most popular one that I hear about our Parks and Rec, besides our Jazz Festival and our Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival, is our Senior Candlelight Dinner. I know there's some seniors here who've gone there, right? This event has gotten so popular that not only does it have Gardena residents attending, but we have Lawndale, Torrance, and there was a lady that stopped me and said she heard this event was so much fun from her friend, she came all the way from Santa Ana, not just once, but a couple of times. That right there is a big testament to how great our events here in the city of Gardena. Also in this department, we handle homeless services. We have our Meals on Wheels program, where we have served as many as 32,000 meals in 2024. We get donations. We have food donations to LA Air Force. We also do things called rental assistance. And we have had, in this past year, 2024, we help assist over 215 households. You heard me earlier mention about our Alzheimer's daycare that we have in the city. We had to close it during COVID, but I was excited to say that we just reopened it in 2024 since COVID. And as soon as the pool is built, it's going to move into the new facility, and I think that is just going to be such a great improvement and something that definitely our seniors would appreciate, along with those who are dealing with Alzheimer's and dementia. And then one of the newest programs that our Parks and Rec department did was a program called Bridge. This here is something they're trying out here, where they foster connections between seniors and the youth. And it was something that was really neat because I've heard the concept before, little kids, with the seniors as far as how it would turn out, but they did it here. And I heard the first interaction that they did was really good. And so this is something that I hope that they continue to do throughout the next coming years. So kudos to our Parks and Rec department for doing that. This was something that's I've heard about it, it's new and innovative, but you never know until you try something out. So seniors and kids working together at different events, thank you again, Parks and Rec, for that. I know everybody had a great time, as you can see from the picture here. And then it was a good event. And then the last event that we thought was really important to mention is that this year we were fortunate to have the Wall That Heals come back to the city of Gardena. And if you're not familiar with this here, this is a traveling wall showing all those who died in the Vietnam War. And it was, I don't even know how to describe it as far as just how emotional it is to be out there. We were fortunate to have it in 2018 and then to have it again this year. There are a lot of cities that petitioned to have this, and they only picked so many cities. But I believe that their great experience they had with our staff and the fact that we still have to pay for it to come, they gave us the opportunity to have it a second time. A lot of our employees went out and volunteered their time from the picture above, because you can't just put the wall up and leave it. It's here for 4 days, and it has to be secured 24/7. So a lot of people were out there securing the wall, and it's open to the public. So you can go visit the wall at 2 o'clock in the morning and get a tour guide, help you find your loved one's name or your friend's name, and be able to spend as much time at the wall as you like. So I want to thank, again, not only our Parks and Rec, but all of the people who helped with this wall when it came to assembling the wall, taking it down, and even staying there to protect it overnight. Thank you, guys. All right, so I know I've mentioned a lot with the departments here, but I need to talk about our city council, because back in the day, it wasn't a city council the way we have our city councils. So when the city was first incorporated on September the 11th, 1930, a couple of days later on September 15th, they decided to have an election. They decided to have their first city council meeting. And so their council meeting consisted of 5 members. They didn't have a mayor elected. What they did was they rotated their mayor around. And believe it or not, there was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Bogart. And he was so popular, Wayne Bogart, back in the day, he was so popular that he was able to be a city council member / mayor for 14 years. And he was really instrumental in helping the city get incorporated. He did so much in the city as far as getting the city incorporated, working with the local chamber, also the local business people, as well as kind of informing the folks in the community why it was important to come out and vote, why it was important to incorporate so our city wouldn't get annexed by some of the neighboring communities here. So I thought it was just really befitting to acknowledge him, because not only being one of the first council members, but he was like one of the forefathers in the beginning, just to help the city of Gardena, the city that it is today. So let's just in honor, just give him a round of applause. Also, I'd like to just make a note here about what we call our official record keeper of the city, and that is our city clerk's office. They oversee elections and many other things in the community. So historically, the city clerk's office, being one of probably the oldest professions in public service, in fact, it can even be dated back to biblical times. So in the city of Gardena, once the city was incorporated, they had a city clerk. But what's probably the most notable thing was the second city clerk ever elected into government held the position for over 23 years. She was an amazing person, and just reading, and it's too much to even write down here, but just some of the amazing things that she did as a city clerk and how she handled the city. Because remember I said there was no finance department and no admin services, so her department did everything. And so for that, I thought too it'd be befitting that I mention her name, because we actually have a monument of hers that was installed in 1982. I'm sure all of us have walked past it many times. I didn't know until I read this exactly who she was and what she did for the city of Gardena. And that's why we have the sign. As you walk outside, I guarantee you from now on, you will always notice the Lucille Randolph Memorial Plaza. Also, a couple of things of note, and I'm just going to kind of go through this pretty quick. Our city clerk's office, like I said, they do so much. They receive over 5,000 general inquiries throughout the year, and that's by phone, window, and email. They conduct statewide elections, and like I said before, it's changed a lot. Before it was all written by hand, but now we have some amazing technology. Our staff is awesome in what they do, and I just appreciate this department, because anything you need, they're quick with it, they're fast, and they're efficient. In fact, we even mentioned at previous State of the Cities that our city clerk's office, they handle passport services. That's something that saves our folks a lot of times. I mean, who wants to drive all the way to Wilshire when you can just be right here in our beautiful city of Gardena and have your passport done? So to our city clerk, thank you for bringing that service to our city. So besides the city clerk's office kind of falling under the city council, or what we call the city manager's office, one of the other things that we did this year was that we decided to hire a public information officer. And the reason we did that is because we have so many great events in our city, but everybody doesn't get a chance to know about it. So we thought, you know what, why don't we hire somebody who's a professional in this, and they can help us get the information out, not only to our residents in Gardena, but also to the surrounding areas as well, because there's a lot of things that I believe that people would really benefit from knowing about this. So to our new PIO person, thank you for coming to the city of Gardena. You have so much work to continue doing, and I'm actually just even amazed the fact that not only is she out here putting press releases and getting our social media out, but she's even contacting radio stations, Power 106, K-Day, KDY, KLOS, KLLI, for coming out to tonight's event. So believe it or not, we have members of the radio industry in tonight's audience with us, just because they want to hear what the city of Gardena is doing. I don't think we have ever had a radio station like this in our city, so yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then the last thing is, our city manager's office this year was our first year we did our Citizens Leadership Academy, which was a huge success. And this was an academy where we were allowing our residents to know about all of our different departments in Gardena. And so every meeting that they came to, they were able to learn maybe about the police department, G-Trans, what does an elected official do? What does Public Works do? And so each department came and kind of gave a little bit of an overview. It was really great, and I want to commend one of our secretaries, Anna A. I know she's running around here, for actually helping. Oh, there, she's way in the back over there hiding. I want to just commend you for coming up with this idea. And as I said earlier tonight, we push our people in leadership. We want them not just stay in one position, but we're open to their ideas. We want to hear what they have to say. And so it's one of our staff people that came up with this idea, and it was an amazing idea, because these people now know more about Gardena. They can tell others, so that way you know what your city government does. I have to say, when I was 18, 19, I had no idea what a city council did. I didn't even know where City Hall was. But it's good to know that there are things like this here at Leadership Academy that can help our residents and just know more about your community. So thank you again for that, and I think that's just really awesome. Now I have one last department before I transition here, and this is our G-Trans department here. So G-Trans is a pretty amazing department here, and I'm fortunate to say that in my time here on the City Council, I have seen this department transition a lot. But back in the day, when this department first began in 1940, it was called the Gardena Municipal Bus Lines. And it replaced the Pacific Electric rail passenger that used to, railroad train that used to pass through Gardena. They actually back then had these diesel freight cars. We can go back one if you want. These diesel freight cars that used to pass through here. What was interesting back then, their municipal director then, he had two old buses. The buses valued $2,500 each. Now, fast forward to today. Our new buses here, believe it or not, we have 52 buses worth $60 million, and just one of our electric buses alone is worth $1.3 million. Times have changed a lot, right? Back then, they only had 7 or 8 employees, which consisted of 2 drivers, a manager, a bookkeeper, and a director. Today, G-Trans has over 146 employees. That's a huge difference there. And they have a beautiful state-of-the-art facility. Now, the other thing to note, in 1940, to get on one of those buses, it was 5 cents. Today, it's still a bargain because it's only $1. Back then, they only had 2 routes of service throughout the city. Today, we have 6 routes, and we service 11 cities. We also have a trolley. For any of you guys who got on our beach trolley this year or have ridden on it during Christmas time, I know, right? It was a lot of fun. If you didn't know about our beach trolley, during the months of July and August, you could get on the bus at Raleigh Park or at City Hall. We had 10 trips a day, 4 times a week, where you could go to Manhattan Beach and back for free. We did it last year. We did it again this year. I'm sorry, we did it 2 years ago. Last year, and I'm sure we're going to do, yes, we are, we're going to do it again this year. So, if you didn't know it, that's the best bargain in town. Free all day long. All you have to do is get on the bus. You don't have to say, I'm a Gardena resident. We'll even let folks from, where is it, from Torrance or Hawthorne come. You can get on the bus too. But that's something I think that's just really neat and exciting that department's doing there. Also, you know, over the course of time, you know, our buses have changed. You know, before they were just typical buses that ran on gas, but we have cleaner, greener buses now. And so they've officially upgraded our entire fleet to be from 95 gasoline buses there to now CNG and zero-emission buses. So what that means it's cleaner and better for the environment. And I think that's something that, everybody talks about it, but we did something about it here in our city. So we're trying to make sure that our footprint is that much better in the world of, that we live in today. I know this presentation is a lot longer than what we've had in the past, but bear with me, it's a lot of good information that I thought you guys would all benefit from tonight. So one of the other things that G-Trans did is that we introduced our new Bolt, and this here is powered by G-Trans. It's a new on-demand microtransit service that's perfect for short trips around the city of Gardena. And in the past, we used to have what we call our city paratransit. And a lot of people thought, well, maybe just the seniors can get on that, take them to their doctor's appointment, but anybody can get on these buses here. It costs just $2 per ride, and they have this really great app where you can book it, and if you don't have a smartphone, you can still call in, but you can book it on the app. You can see in real time where the bus is at. It's kind of like when you book an Uber, and you know that, hey, the bus is getting close, it's 1 minute away, and it's coming to your house, and it picks you up. It's a really great service that we have, and it's only exclusive to the city of Gardena. It doesn't drive outside the city. So again, kudos to G-Trans for coming up with this really neat bus. I love the logo, love the colors as well. You guys did a great job. And don't you guys just love that name, Bolt? Isn't that exciting? Yes. And so with that, the last thing I probably just want to mention is that G-Trans has served over 2.3 million customers, and they've seen a 90% increase in their ridership since 2020. And the paratransit that what people used to ride on, which is now Bolt, actually serviced over 10,000 seniors, and especially those with disabilities. So we appreciate what G-Trans is doing. I think this department, along with Public Works, Police Department, all the others, is just another example of what we do to try to make life in Gardena that much better. So thank you guys again for that. I will mention that, thank you. That's one of our 100 events that we have all the time. So with that, I want to say, we've talked about all these great businesses here, great departments here that we have in our city, but the one that I haven't talked about yet, which is one that I know you guys are all eager to hear from, and that's our police department. And so at this time, okay, before you start clapping, let me give his proper introduction here, okay? So at this time, I'd like to invite our police chief, Mike Safel, who is not only my colleague, but he's my really good friend. Been with the department for over 30 years, and he has held every position in the police department, from operations to support, services division. And so at this time, you guys have already given a warm round of applause, but at this time, let's give him one more. Mike Safel.
Okay, I'm going to make you a deal. If I get energy from you, I'll do this in 15 minutes or less. Can I hear it? Can I hear it? Come on. Council members, love, I want to hear it. I see it. Okay, as always, I'm very, very thankful to our mayor and our city council for providing us the opportunity to do what we do. Couldn't do it without them. Our city manager, thank you very much. Today, I'm going to take you on a quick journey through 95 years of the police department, one that will show us truly how far we have come as a police department and a city. In 1930, some 3,000 residents, the tiny rural communities of Gardena, Moanetta, and Strawberry Park became a sixth-class city under the general laws of the state of California. And as a part of becoming a municipal corporation, the founding fathers were faced with forming the various departments of police, fire, and street maintenance. As a result, on September 11, 1930, the date of incorporation, the Gardena Police Department was born. Yes. Oh, not a large department. To be sure, after all, 3,000 residents of a farming community are not too much of a police problem. George Norman was the chief of police with Officer George Skach, and they comprised a total department of 2. Today, we have 91 officers. For the first few years, motorcycles were the only type of police vehicle in the city. The city only measured 2.89 square miles and was largely residential and small farm and makeup. The biggest problem were animals, domestic animals, specifically goats. Now, we haven't had a wild goat call in many years, but they created quite a problem for the police department in those days. They were forever getting lost, strayed, and stolen. They ate flowers, tore up lawns, and disputed the right-of-way of cars and made noises. Very rarely there would be a minor theft or a burglary to deal with. During this period, the department grew slowly. But on May 3rd, 1938, Elmo Field was appointed chief of police when George Norman retired. By this time, there was a police car, a used Plymouth. Let's hear it. Anybody remember that? So what this means is that the chief had previously driven his own car to calls. He transported suspects to jail in his car. Now, it's unknown, as of right now, if these problem goats may have been transported in that same car, but we do know he took his family to dinner after his shift. You figured out it was very different then. In 1939, the Gardena Police Department became one of the first departments in the South Bay to install a police radio station to relay calls to its police unit. This was the precursor to the dispatch center and system we use today. In fact, it was Gardena PD who pushed the idea of a regional dispatch center. This eventually turned into what is now known as RCC. Even then, Gardena PD was on the forefront of policing innovation. In the years following, the Gardena Police Department continued to grow in pace with the city. In the late 1950s, the Gardena Patch was implemented. The patch was designed by Officer Tony Rios. The patch was designed for reserve officers to differentiate them from regular police officers. The first policewoman, Nora Simpson, joined in 1959. Let's hear it. Yep. And here's the big one. Today, Gardena PD currently has 20% female officers. And growing. By 1960, the Gardena Police Department was comprised of 44 regular officers, 1 policewoman, and 4 clerks. Today, we have 130 employees. The motorcycles and antiquated one-way radio system had given way to 8 modern, well-equipped police cars, 1 panel truck, and 1 3-wheeled motorcycle, dispatched by the most up-to-date 3-way radio equipment available. Today, our total police department fleet for all vehicles is 95. Yep. The Gardena police officer was backed by investigators and technicians. There was a photo lab, records bureau, and detective bureau able to handle almost any type of investigation. This fails in comparison to our real-time crime center today. I often think about what it would be like if an officer from 1960 was suddenly thrust into the technology of 2025. It's amazing. In June 1960, Roy Tracy became chief of police. Chief Tracy carried on and expanded the growing professionalism of the Gardena Police Department. The department now had 1 captain, 1 lieutenant, 2 sergeants, and 1 detective. All officers began wearing the GPD patch on their uniforms, and in 1963, a new station was built. Soon after, Chief William Hudgens became chief from 1973 and 1980, and you're going to enjoy this, sir. During Chief Hudgens' tenure, the department had 73 police officers and 18 police cars. By 1976, staffing moved up to 94 funded police officers. In keeping with current law enforcement practices at the time, and to help fight the war on drugs, the Gardena Police Department formed their own SWAT team. But the still talked about incident from these years happened in 1976. Yes? Don't do it. The green police car. There it is. Look at that beauty. Let's just say that the color may have been green, but those cars did not cause envy from any of our surrounding police departments. And by 1978, those vehicles were changed. Now, I love the history of the Gardena Police Department, so I'm glad you're all here today, all the officers, to hear my announcement. We're going back to green in 25. Just kidding, Lieutenant Goodpaster is sweating over there going, I cannot sell this, sir. I cannot sell this to anybody. So they were gone. Chief Richard Prosper became the police chief from 1977 to 1998. During Chief Prosper's nearly 2-decade tenure as chief, the PD budget was approximately $4 million. Today, our total budget for the police department is almost $36 million. In 1984, the Gardena Police Officers Association started a long tradition of the Santa Float. They built their own float by hand and remained for decades until about 4 years ago when we partnered with other city departments to create the Jolly Trolley campaign. Yeah, Jolly Trolley, let's hear it. Where the Santa Float campaign was the first of its kind by the GPOA in 1982, the Jolly Trolley continued that tradition of innovation in 2021. In 1989, after annexing an area west of Van Ness, the City Council approved a $700,000 budget increase to bring staffing up to 100 officers. But by 1998, the number was reduced to 67. Nevertheless, the department pushed forward by creating a volunteer program, and there they are. There they are. Let's hear it. And teaming up with Hawthorne PD for a joint helicopter program. In 1999, Mike Skog became the chief of police for 3 years. His tenure was marked by an investment in technology by providing desktop computers to our employees. In addition, his era caused the promotion of many future department leaders to the rank of sergeant. In 1999, Gardena PD issued the Millennium Badge, which eventually changed the design of the badge to the one you see today. All right, in 2002, Chief Rod Lyons became chief of police. During his tenure, the Gardena Police Foundation was formed. This foundation continues today and is comprised of many of our Gardena businesses. The foundation has provided over $200,000 in scholarships to continue our mission to invest in the youthful talent in this community. Chief Lyons' tenure was marked by the promotion, this time, of many future department leaders to the rank of lieutenant. And then what happened? Gardena moved into the modern era. At Gardena PD, we always placed a high value on being confident and competent in law enforcement tactics. We've added to this value. During these eras, the department dove deep into community policing, innovation, increased performance expectation, and our desire to have your police department become a civic rallying point of enthusiasm. Let's hear it. Yep. A department that the city could be proud of, one that could reflect the wants and needs of the community. Most importantly, the era developed programs that developed officers' skills in empathy and in the art of managing difference. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. So what programs are we talking about? Oh, things like our community-oriented policing and problem-solving team, district policing, the Gardena Hawthorne Mental Evaluation Team, the Gardena Juvenile Justice and Intervention Program, our citywide camera system, our K-9 program, our TAC Med program, our community outreach and resource education team, our core team that was just deployed to Hawthorne to help them out, our drone team with the emphasis on STEM education for our elementary schools, and our involvement in over 100 events and meetings every year, to name a few. And that's a lot. Let's hear it. Thank you to all these officers over here for all of your work in maintaining those programs. Can't say thank you enough. And so we move into modern day. I'd like you to introduce you to my command staff. And they just want to hear it, guys. We need to give them a little bit of applause just to cheer them up. Deputy Chief Todd Fox. There he is. Lieutenant Dave Brock. Lieutenant Chris Cuff. Lieutenant Brian Messina. Lieutenant Alex Rivera. You were fantastic today, Alex. Fantastic. Lieutenant Patrick Goodpaster. Lieutenant Matt Hassel, there he is, and Lieutenant Luis Contreras. Excellent, excellent. So since 2019, I've had the privilege of promoting 27 officers to the positions of sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and deputy chief. For context, we did not promote 27 people in the previous 10 years, but we did it in the last 5. With that comes the need to restaff, realign, and restart our programs. And because of the leadership of this city council and the expertise of my staff, the department was able to replace these employees by still reducing its overall budget. The department has replaced 87 positions in 4.5 years. These recruitments involve several hundred applicants being processed. That's a heck of a lot of work to maintain the level that we perform at. So congratulations, department, and congratulations, City of Gardena, to enjoy that. So in 2019, to get all this accomplished, we started our initiative, which is the Gardena Policing Services Enhancement and Community Trust Initiative. It had 6 focus areas. That's police service delivery, succession planning, employee wellness, training and policy involvement, innovation, and community engagement. So in 2024, the Gardena Police Department increased our district policing outreach efforts by attending over 100 meetings and events. People ask me, why are the events important? Here's why. It's almost impossible to establish a meaningful relationship with someone on their worst day. Usually when someone is calling the police, it means something is wrong. We typically do not get people calling 911 to say, hey, my day is going great, I just wanted you to know about it. In order to really get to know the community, we need to do that in a different setting other than a 911 call. So we find those opportunities, every opportunity. And in 2024 was over 100 opportunities to build those relationships. Congratulations. Good job. During this time, we also staffed a full-time professional standards bureau and continued our work with our tactical medicine program for our first responders. This led to 10 officers from the Gardena Police Department receiving 12 life-saving awards during the 2024 South Bay Medal of Valor ceremony. All right, DC Fox, here we go. For the 5th year in a row, the Gardena Police Department received recognition for our policy maintenance and development by earning the Lexipol Policy Gold Award. This means that we hold our employees to a gold standard of performance. Over the years, our expectations have increased for all our employees because your expectations have increased. Thank you, Deputy Chief Todd Fox, for taking this responsibility so seriously, and to our employees who meet and oftentimes exceed those expectations. Good job. You feel that, Todd? Hey, let's give it to Todd, everybody. Let's give him a thing. Yes. There he is. All right. All right, for a department of our size, we are on the cutting edge of technology in many areas. We continue to evolve our incident-based drone program, our license plate reader cameras, our ballistic shields, our daily micro training for all of our officers, and our real-time crime center. But this just touches the surface of our advancements. They change every day, and this costs money. So we also have a method for determining the difference between what we want and what we need. We have developed a rubric for fiscal accountability based on our department organizational values and the lessons learned from past initiatives to continually improve our technology and its procurement. Councilman Henderson, that one's for you. Here you go. Yep. All right. Law enforcement is a demanding profession. Supporting our employees in this line of work is our priority. The healthier and more resilient we are, the better we can serve this community. Therefore, we completed work on our employee wellness room, expanded our regional peer support team in size, scope of service, and in their training. We added sharp performance resiliency and mentoring service for all employees. In addition to all our district events, we expanded our community academy last year to even more community members. This allowed for more informed community. We look forward to another class of Police Department Community Academy ambassadors graduating this spring. Mr. Johnson, you're one of those students. We look forward to seeing you. We continue to offer services by our community outreach and our resource education team. That's our core team this past year. We had so much emphasis has been placed on suspects in the past. We wanted to focus on providing victims with as much assistance as possible. Our core team does just that. Please give them a round of applause. Okay, there have been many changes in personnel over the past year. This is an exciting time. I predict that this year we'll promote 2 captains, 1 lieutenant, 4 sergeants, and hire 10 new officers to replace our retirees. In addition to placing employees in new roles, comes the responsibility to train them to accomplish all the things that I have been detailing tonight. We have been assigning and developing training plans for our employees to continue the great tradition of leadership that we have built. Here we go with crime results. Okay, here's the thing about crime stats that we have learned from our community. I could stand up here all day and talk about how we lowered our crime numbers compared to last year. But if you were the person who experienced that burglary or robbery or theft, you don't care what the numbers say. It's personal to you. Well, you know what? It's personal to me too. One crime is too many, and that is the basis from which we work. And I think everyone needs to feel that way, and I know all of you do. Please give yourselves a round of applause. So with that said, from a crime rate perspective in 2024, we lowered crimes such as homicide, grand theft, petty theft, auto theft, and arson. Yet we still continue to impact these on a daily basis. Last year, we had a slight increase in residential burglaries. As we return to pre-pandemic conditions, we start to see pre-pandemic numbers. But we will continue to fight this issue in an attempt to impact it every day. It is very important to remind everybody how much work the Gardena Police Department does on a daily basis. Last year, officers responded to 55,000 calls for service. That's not people coming to the counter, that's not phone calls, and that's not detectives calling people back. That's 55,000 calls for service. Of those, 29,000 were face-to-face, where our officers actually encountered somebody on these calls. So 29,000 of these face-to-face interactions. This was done by 7 officers on each of 4 shifts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In 2024, we received 14 complaints. The complaint percentage per face-to-face incident occurred 0.048% of the time. 0.048. We had 31 uses of force. This means that the GPD used force in 0.106% of the time. These numbers are impressive. Please give them a round of applause here. I would put those numbers up with any agency in LA County. Wouldn't you, Brian Messina? Yep, you're a stats guy. To our officers, thank you for your performance and professionalism. Fireworks seizure. Everybody's pet peeve, fireworks, City of Gardena. So quality of life issues still remain a high priority for our department. On June 21st, 2024, while conducting fireworks enforcement, our Special Investigations Unit were led to a commercial warehouse in the 17000 block of Vermont, where 75 tons of fireworks were discovered. To give you a better idea of the quantity of the seizure, we had 152 pallets with approximately 150,000 pounds of fireworks. It required 5 53-foot tractor trailers and 1 40-foot big rig to haul this away. Street value of these fireworks was estimated between $7 and $10 million. This was not only the largest single seizure in the fireworks in the department's history, it was the largest single seizure in California. Yeah, so your little tiny mid-sized police department is doing big things. Lieutenant Contreras and Lieutenant Brock, who were responsible for that, fantastic work. There it is. We added a trained explosive and firearms detection canine in 2024. Ghost. Yeah, let's hear it for Ghost. Ghost is assigned to our SIU team and handled by Detective Joel Martinez, and we look forward to all the work that Ghost will be doing. We are always trying to protect our most vulnerable community members. This year we began a Find and Protect campaign, which is intended to help caretakers locate those who may have drifted from their residence. We offer Apple AirTags, which can be monitored by a family to help find your missing loved one. Please give Lieutenant Rivera a round of applause for that little nugget. That was a good one. And you guys are pretty happy about that, right? We got a lot of Apple AirTags out there today, so I think we gave some of those away. All right, we updated our real-time crime information center, which includes feeds from our citywide camera system. We also added a new crime analyst to our ranks, as well as an upgraded software program to help us combine all of our data and technology into one platform. These additions to our toolbox create efficiencies and a safer Gardena. We continue to evolve our employee wellness program with the addition of a wellness application. This program, Sharp Performance, is designed to enhance the mental resilience and performance of all the employees of the Gardena Police Department to make sure they're able to continue to serve this community for many years to come. Again, this is our attempt to protect those who protect you. Thank you. All right, people often ask, hey Chief, what do you expect for your employees? The answer is pretty easy, but the execution is hard and without end. But it's one of the most rewarding things you'll ever do. And if you're lucky, if you're blessed, you get to do it in the city of Gardena. Here's the answer. We have 2 missions at the Gardena Police Department. They are distinctly different. We make people safe, and we make them feel safe. All of the programs and the results that I've just talked about are designed to help your police department accomplish those missions. We have to be tactically sound, competent, and confident in our law enforcement actions. But we also have to connect with the community in many different ways to make them feel that safety. The more ways you connect, the more opportunities you get to make them feel safe. Where did I learn this? Another easy answer. Man, thought I'd get through it, but I can't. From all the history I shared earlier, I stand on the shoulders of the men and women of the Gardena Police Department that came before me. Yeah, trying. It'll pass. All right. I have put, yeah, thank you. Yep. I have put into action the experiences of you. Some community members who have been in this city for over half a century, some people that I've known for 25 years. I have listened and watched our community for 3 decades, and I remember their thoughts and experiences. All of that information analyzed and condensed over my 30-year career and put it into play for you. I was born into this community. I was raised throughout my career by this community to serve as the chief for this community, and I'm damn proud of it. Okay. Can I get Mayor Tasha Serta, District 1 Lieutenant Chris Cuff, District 2 Lieutenant Brian Messina, and District 3 Lieutenant Alex Rivera. So as we've seen, community leaders are critical to our success. Community leaders serve as doorways to the community, doorways that allow for two-way communication. First, information is given to the police department by community leaders. This information usually consists of feedback about our performance, suggestions for policing programs, and crime information. Secondly, community leaders enable our messages to be spread to the community. They are our ambassadors. This two-way communication process builds trust between the police department and the community. We have seen the value of this process and the success of our district policing program. This relationship produces a well-informed and safe community and a highly effective police department. We have many community leaders that have been involved for many decades. To all our community leaders, the Gardena Police Department says thank you. Okay. So this year, we are recognizing one district leader from each of our 3 districts for their tireless work supporting the Gardena Police Department, the city, and this community. So this year, we would like to award Barbara Phillips for District 1. You know, when people are surprised and they have no idea they're getting an award, it's so much better. So much better. All right, from District 2, Mary. District 2. Mary and Steve Coe. I'm waiting for tears. They're coming. I know. All right, in District 3, Annie Roddy.
You're right in the middle. Here we go. All right?
All right, thank you, guys. Now, I promised you 20 minutes. Now, I know directors are back there with stopwatches because there's an over and under on that right now. I have no doubt. Is it? Did I do it? No? All right. Okay, in researching the history of Gardena PD, we found one common theme in every decade since 1930. Strong community involvement and support. No matter the chief, no matter the budget, number of officers, color of the police car, or whether an officer was chasing a goat thief or a graffiti suspect, our Gardena community has always been right there supporting us, helping us, and being proud of us. That tradition has continued through today. On behalf of all of us at the Gardena Police Department, thank you for the support, the feedback, and the love. And now back to Mayor Serra.
All right, wasn't that awesome?
Thank you.
You stole my notes, Chief. You stole my notes here. Anyway, I know what to say. I wrote the speech. So, I want to thank all of you guys for being here today, not just for staying so late for our presentation, but we really, really appreciate what all of you do. Our residents, our businesses, all of you guys are our community partners. And just know, while I had time to sit and do this, the history and the chief and all of us working on this, we can definitely see where our community has grown over 95 years. Can't you say? Would you say, Ariel? And so in 6 months, we will officially be celebrating our 95th anniversary, and I hope that we'll have more events leading up to this that touch upon a little bit more of our history, because there was so much to talk about. We just kind of had to just scratch up on the surface of it. So, you know, we've grown a lot, we've gotten better, we're stronger, we're more resilient, we do better together. And you know, our motto in Gardena, you know, we love to say we love to live, work, and play here, but you know, it's all about community and all the things we talked about, you know, the nonprofits, the commissioners, the council members, all of our departments, all of us. I mean, it takes all of us to make this happen. And believe it or not, our city council, out of our office, we normally don't give out souvenir gifts at these different events. Usually all the departments, they have all the fun little marketing gifts. But this year, we have these special cups. And there's, say, City of Gardena from 1930 to 1925. This is the first time we're doing that from our department, and we're only giving them out here tonight. So thank you guys for staying as long as you did, because we have these great cups, great posters, and a couple of little marketing ideas. But again, this is exclusive because you guys decided to come to tonight's event and stay this long, so we appreciate that. I'd just like to say in closing here, please follow us on social media. There's so many ways to stay in contact with us. Facebook, Twitter, the Gram, Nextdoor, Nixle, our Gardena Direct. You know, if you have any of those issues with overgrown grass and neighbors you kind of want to tell on but not be seen, you can do it that way. So again, stay in contact with us for all the things that are happening. And I'd just like to invite my two colleagues, Councilmember Francis and Councilmember Love. We do have a raffle, and I want to turn it over to them, and I want to say thank you guys. This ends the official part here. Now the fun part comes up, and I will let them handle that. So thank you guys again for coming to our 2025 State of the City.